Welcome to DiVino Wine School. I'm Annie, certified sommelier and the founder of DiVino. Today I'm going to teach you 4 rules for pairing food and wine DiVino style. If you've got a bottle of wine, crack it open and play along. Let's go. So, I'm a certified sommelier. What does that even mean? The origins of the word sommelier come from the French, from a word that refers to the man or woman tasked with carrying heavy loads of wine around, usually with the help of animals and probably a cart or a carriage or something. The modern definition of sommelier is a wine steward or wine director who works in a restaurant. The title sommelier, as in my case, is a certification that you receive after years of studying wine history, wine growing and production, wine regions and appellations, multisensory analysis of wine, and food and wine pairing. That is a lot of studying and a lot of drinking, or tasting if you want to be classy about it. But the point is, practice makes perfect. And on that note, if you want to keep practicing your wine tasting skills, subscribe to the channel. The link is right down there. I'll be waiting for you. All right, let's get back to food and wine pairing. There is an art and a science to pairing food and wine, and methods vary. That said, sommeliers do agree on a number of principles. Today, I'm going to lay out 4 basic rules for pairing food and wine so you can get started and try it on your own. Remember, as we go along, if you ever have a question, put it in the comments section. I will absolutely get back to you, and you might even inspire my next video. Rule number 1, balance. If you remember one thing from this lesson, let it be the word balance. The right combination works like magic to bring out the best on your plate and in your glass. It's like a delicious little miracle, and food and wine can really sing when paired correctly. When choosing a wine to pair with your food, take into consideration the consistency of the main ingredient as well as how it was prepared. For example, grilled chicken is fairly clean, lean, and simple. Fried chicken has a lot of texture, fattiness, and depending what's in the batter, potentially a very intense flavor. Barbecue chicken is juicy and also, depending on the sauce, could be very intense on the palate. Acidity, minerality, tannins, and effervescence all work in different ways to clean and polish your palate and prepare you for another extraordinary bite. This is part of balance. Acidity tingles on the tip, sides, and back of your tongue. It actually acts like a cleaning agent to skim away a sensation of fattiness from your palate. Minerality refers to those stony, metallic, or salty notes that produce a mouth-watering finish. That rush of saliva can actually help to temper overpowering flavors and also cleanse your palate. Tannins also help to clean up your palate, but in a different way. That dusty, drying sensation of tannins can be a little bit rough if you drink a glass of wine without any food. But if you eat something really saucy, juicy, and rich, the effect of the tannins is not unlike reducing a sauce in a pan. You emphasize flavor, bring out a richness of flavor while reducing liquid. Effervescence, or bubbles, works like tiny scrubbers to keep your palate feeling fresh and clean. Do you remember the commercial for those scrubbing bubbles? Imagine that happening to your entire mouth every time you drink a glass of champagne, or cava, or prosecco, or something else sparkling. Minus the soap flavor, of course. Pair aroma and flavor with aroma and flavor. A wine with a big, bold, spicy finish will likely overpower a grilled chicken sandwich, whereas a spicy brisket would leave a light, clean, and crisp wine like Pinot Grigio tasting like water in your glass. Still on the subject of balance, pair body with body. For example, a delicate sashimi or ceviche may burst with flavor on your palate, but it will not weigh it down. So save that buttery Chardonnay for another special occasion and serve something more delicate and mineral-driven, like an Albarino or a Vermentino. Likewise, a mouthful of tender, juicy beef stew or a pasta sauce loaded with ground beef and pork and aromatic herbs will surely linger on your palate. Choose a wine with similar weight and staying power, maybe a Cabernet-based blend like Bordeaux. Rule number 2, complement, don't clash. When analyzing a dish and a wine, be aware of components that could be unpleasant on your palate if exaggerated or too intense. Things to be aware of: extreme temperatures, heaviness, fattiness, spiciness, sweetness, aggressive tannins, or even a bitter finish. So that means avoid pairing fatty foods with rich, buttery, creamy wines, and avoid pairing foods that are acidic or bitter with wines with a lot of acidity or a bitter finish. For a great example, avoid serving a sharp cheddar cheese with super bright and citrusy acidic Sauvignon Blanc. Instead, try a creamy, mild goat cheese. Rule number 3, accentuate. In the same way that we use special shaped wine glasses to bring out the flavors of particular wines, we choose foods and wines to help bring out the flavors in each other. If your food has a particular spice blend or a lot of fresh aromatic herbs, or even something like a nutty floral cheese, consider pairing it with a wine with a similarly unique aromatic profile to kind of draw out, ease out and accentuate those aromas. Example pairing: mozzarella di bufala and fiano d'Avellino. Fiano is a dry white wine that grows predominantly on the volcanic soils in southern Italy. It tends to oxidize rather early in its lifespan and develops an earthy, nutty quality. When paired with a seemingly simple ball of fresh mozzarella cheese, the vegetal, floral, and earthy, grassy notes of that milk come bursting into bloom. It's a beautiful pairing and very classic. Rule number 4, consider tradition and local flavor. There's a famous expression, what grows together, goes together. In many parts of the world, food and wine traditions have evolved together for centuries. Sometimes the easiest way to pair food with wine, or vice versa, is to look at the regional cuisine and wine production. For example, in coastal southern France, Provençal rosés from the surrounding area are a standard pairing for dishes like bouillabaisse, a spicy seafood stew. The piquant fruit notes and minerality in the wine help to accentuate as well as to balance those intense spicy flavors. Lastly, tradition also applies to you. Eat and drink what makes you happy and nostalgic. Sense memories are one of the many joys of food and wine to begin with. If you have happy associations about drinking Franzia Rosé out of a box with pizza during your college years, by all means, keep on doing it. Just remember, the more you taste, the more you experiment with food and wine, the wider your world will become, and the more you will appreciate each of these flavors individually, even the Franzia. All right, let's review. The 4 rules for food and wine pairing are: number 1, balance. Number 2, complement, don't clash. Number 3, accentuate. And number 4, consider tradition and local flavor. So that's it for today, guys. Remember, you can ask me anything at all in the comments and I will get back to you. Also, if you like what you're seeing, or you just like looking at me, or maybe you're laughing at me, please subscribe to this channel. I'm fine with all of those reasons. And remember, what we talked about today is truly the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more to taste, so much more to talk about, and I'm here right with you.